Thanks, Kevin. Is everybody awake out here? It's hard being the last person, I think, but hang in there with me. So I'm a water engineer, and just really going to talk about all these water issues. The first thing I want to talk about is the water energy link, or the water energy connection, considering that the topic of this is water energy quandaries. And then I'm going to talk about water needs for hydraulic fracturing in Colorado, and then the potential water sources, legal water sources for this hydraulic fracturing water. Let's scoot over here, I think. Okay, so really there's a great link between our water use and our energy use. The whole energy production cycle has a lot of different times when water is needed as an input, and so that might be refining, that might be the gas well drilling and completion part of the cycle, or maybe you need some cooling water for your power plant. So there's a lot of water use that goes into energy production. And everyone, all of us here in the room, are all energy users, and so by being energy users, we're water users. And then if we look at that other end of the spectrum, we need to use a lot of energy for getting water to our homes, particularly if we're on city water. So we have raw water pumping. We've got water and wastewater treatment, which can be energy intensive. And then we've got water distribution, so pumping the water to our homes. So here in Colorado, our water project energy needs are just getting more intensive as we have more and more water needs. We see that our new water projects that we're needing to put in to meet municipal water demands, they need to use energy to pump water upstream. We can't build reservoirs on streams anymore. We need to build reservoirs off channel. And so when you're building a reservoir off channel, that means you're pumping that water upstream. And a lot of times we're not able to just capture very clean mountain runoff anymore. We might need to capture water that might be downstream of cities. And so when we're going to bring that water to our homes, it's going to have more of a energy intensive water treatment process. We see we're more and more needing to use a membrane process to treat our water, and that's very energy intensive. So basically, as our municipal water demand continues to go up, the kilowatt hours we need per acre foot of water that we're delivering is going up as well. So the most energy efficient water projects were completed long ago. At first I had said the easiest water projects were completed long ago, and then I thought about how they had to drill holes through mountainsides to get the water to cities, and I said, well, yeah, easy is probably not really what we should call that energy efficient. Uh-oh. Okay, yeah, so I just wanted to highlight that energy conservation and water conservation, when we're thinking about the SWASI process and our state's municipal water needs as we're growing, as more people are coming to our state, that energy conservation and water conservation are in a lot of ways two sides of the same coin. So moving on, for our water needs for fracking in Colorado, I think we've seen enough of this. The hydraulic fracturing occurring very deep below the ground and below our groundwater drinking water sources. I think this just goes to show you that there's two different kinds of wells that might be fracked, just those that are vertical and those that are extending quite a ways underground horizontally. And so I'm going to show some more numbers about this, but you're going to take a lot more water if you're doing one of those horizontal fracking wells. Okay, so what's the per well hydraulic fracturing demand? It can really vary greatly from well to well, but basically 1 to 5 million gallons per well, or 3 to 15 acre feet. Probably everybody in this room knows an acre foot is 326,000 gallons, but in more regular terms, that's maybe enough water for 2 to 3 households for a year in per acre foot. And then just looking at the recent data, 80% of the wells being drilled in Colorado are now using horizontal drilling. So we are moving to more horizontal wells, those kind of wells that do use a bit more water. So what does this mean in the state of Colorado, where of course we have very limited water resources? What's the total amount of water used annually for fracking? And how does this compare to other uses of water in Colorado? So Sarah talked about the study that, sort of a white paper that our office put out a couple years ago with COGCC. And just last week I was able to get some updated figures. So this is actual statewide fracking water use for the years 2010 through 2012 in acre feet. And then just an estimate for 2013 through 2015. So you can see 2010, we were right around 14,000 acre feet. 2011, we went up closer to 16, and then we went back down in 2012 to actually less than we were at in 2010. So we're kind of hovering right around that 14,000 acre feet amount of water. And so, some of the staff at COGCC just kind of gave me a little estimate for 2013 through 2015. Maybe it's going to be on the order of 18,000 acre feet, but this is pretty difficult to predict how many wells are going to be drilled and how much water are they actually going to use. These trends are difficult to predict because Sarah alluded to the price of energy. We don't really know what's going to happen with the price, and of course that affects how many wells are drilled and where they're drilled. And also, it was pointed out to me that there is an upper limit to the amount of wells that we can be drilling at any one time, just because we have the physical number of drilling rigs that are here in the state and that can be brought into the state. You know, that's not an infinite number of drilling rigs that can be out there working. So considering that we don't exactly know how many wells we're going to have in the future, we just want to keep in mind this order of magnitude, maybe somewhere between 10,000, 20,000 acre feet per year of water for this fracking use. So how does that fit into the bigger picture of all of our water use? This is showing total water diversions. And so probably everybody in this room knows that diversions are not the same as consumptive use. With all of these uses, some of the water is going to return to the system. So in an average year, we have about 16.5 million acre feet of water diverted for different beneficial uses in Colorado. Of that 16 million, the lion's share is diverted by agriculture. Again, we're at about 14 million acre feet for agriculture. And then we've got municipal and industrials down about 1 million acre feet. And then all other uses, excluding agriculture and M&I, again, is about 1 million. And then hydraulic fracturing is 14,000 acre feet. So it's a relatively small share of our total water diversions. So just taking a look at that graphically again, we've got up there total diversions, 16 million, agriculture, the majority of that, municipal and industrial down about 1 million, and total all others around 1 million. If we expand on total all others, down here in the corner, now you guys probably can't read this too well. Total all others about 1 million, and hydraulic fracturing. This just really shows it's a fairly small part of the water use in our state. And even if that were to double, it's still going to be a small fraction. So where can this water come from? This is what our office does, is, administer water rights. So oil and gas companies are no different. They have to get the water from a legal source. And just some of what the options are for them: lease or purchase water from irrigators. The difficult thing for the oil and gas companies for that is that in most cases this water is only decreed for an irrigation water use, or it's only permitted for an irrigation water use. And they have to go through an expensive and time-consuming process to go ahead and change that to an industrial use that includes this kind of purpose. They can lease water from municipalities, as long as, again, the municipalities have to have a decreed use for the water or a permitted use for the water that includes this kind of use. A lot of them do. And so when they're leasing from municipalities, they can either get raw water, they could get treated drinking water, or they might just be buying effluent. They could try to get a new diversion and priority on the eastern side of the mountains. That's not going to be a reliable source for them. We're over-appropriated. Sarah talked about the study that, sort of a white paper that our office put out a couple years ago with COGCC, and just last week I was able to get some updated figures. So this is actual statewide fracking water use for the years 2010 through 2012 in acre feet, and then just an estimate for 2013 through 2015. So you can see 2010 we were right around 14,000 acre feet. 2011 we went up closer to 16, and then we went back down in 2012 to actually less than we were at in 2010. So we're kind of hovering right around that 14,000 acre feet amount of water. And so some of the staff at COGCC just kind of gave me a little estimate for 2013 through 2015. Maybe it's going to be on the order of 18,000 acre feet, but this is pretty difficult to predict. How many wells are going to be drilled and how much water are they actually going to use? These trends are difficult to predict because Sarah alluded to the price of energy. We don't really know. Conservation being linked, that's a lot of gas to drive all those water trucks around the state. So just to wrap it up, while the volumes of water are large, 14,000 acre feet per year, that's a lot of water. That's enough water supply for a lot of houses. But we do get calls into our office about folks concerned that the oil and gas well development is drying up the state, or that it might dry up the Denver Basin aquifer, drying up agriculture. We can see that we're talking about a very small fraction of the water use in the state. So we don't really think that's likely. I do think that we could see that more oil and gas production could affect the price of water and perhaps the availability of leasing of water for other kinds of uses. But we are regulating the use of this water, and the oil and gas companies do have to obtain their water from a legal source. So that's all. I think that's all I have.